Nona, and this is known as Here. Today I am joining in Recreation Inspiration, where we are to take 3 different crafts created by different crafters and try to recreate them our own way. Our hosts today are Crafty Art Shack Charlene, who is a wonderful crafter with lots of different unique crafting ideas, Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, another creative crafter, and our co-host Stephanie from Mama Can Make It. I'll be sure and link all of their channels down below in the description box. You'll be sure to want to check them out, and they will have the playlist of all the other crafters who are joining in today. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy my video. So let's get over to my craft table, and I'll show you my 3 crafts that I am recreating from other crafters' creations. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon at Nona's Here. Okay, sorry for my voice. I've got that late summer cough and cold. DIY number 1. So I found this jar at Dollar Tree that immediately looked like a pumpkin to me. So I'm going to use some ivory chalk paint, some pumpkin chalk paint, and some alcohol to clean off the glass. And that's my cotton pad. Also, I'm sorry for my iced tea sitting there. I'm constantly drinking stuff to keep my throat so that I can talk. First thing I'm going to do is paint the jar with the ivory chalk paint. And then I will paint it with the pumpkin. But I'm not going to completely cover it with the pumpkin. I want some of that ivory peeking through. Then I'm going to take some antique wax and kind of dry brush it and then wipe it off. There's the antique wax. See, the pumpkin's painted. The pumpkin is painted with the pumpkin paint, but you can see I didn't cover it completely. I let some of that ivory just peek through. So now I'm dry brushing it. And I'm going to dry brush it and wipe it off, and dry brush it and wipe it off. Go through that routine till I get it, till I have it just like I want it to look like, a pumpkin. Then I have a lid to that pumpkin jar that I'm going to take the wax and paint the lid. And then I'm going to take in my awl, A-W-L, and my hammer, and I'm going to punch some holes in the lid. And that sounds kind of strange, but I'll show you why in just a minute. So there you go. I punched holes in it. So then I'm going to take this pretty orange plaid ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue it around the lid and make a little bow for the front and hot glue that all on. Then I have some potpourri, and I'm going to pour it into the jar. That's why I've made the holes in the lid so the fragrance comes through. And that will be the, oh no, then I take a little branch and I cut off a little piece of the branch, and I use my E6000 and I glue it onto the top of the lid of the jar. See, I'm smelling it to see how good it smells. There's the branch. I'm going to cut it a little piece off, and I'm going to E6000. Then I forgot to show you the part. I take some green leaves and I glue those around the stem of the pumpkin, and that finishes up my pumpkin DIY. And I am copying this from one that I found on Pinterest from Little House of 4. Okay, so I'm holding the stem up there so the E6000 takes hold. And you'll see where I did the leaves in the final picture. Alright, so I'm just holding up the stem so it takes hold. And it did take hold. I let it dry overnight. And here is the original pumpkin from Little House of 4 that I found on Pinterest. And then here is my recreation. All right, on to DIY number 2. And so I have this little plaque, and I found these pumpkins pictures on Pinterest, and I printed them off. Now this is from At Home with Gigi, and she showed us how to do this on one of our collaborations. So I didn't have exactly the color that she used, which was real pretty. So I took some purple acrylic paint and some red crimson chalk paint, mixed them together to get a color as close as I could. And I'm following her directions to do crackle paint. So first I painted the board and I let that dry. Then I took the white glue, school glue, spread that out all over, let that dry for 45 minutes, just like Gigi told us to. Then I didn't have a chip brush, so I used a regular brush and I put the white ivory paint over the top, but I was supposed to use a chip brush. And I really put the paint on too thick, as you'll see. I let that dry overnight, and in the morning it crackled, but the crackles were way too small, and I wanted it to be like Gigi's and have the big wide crackles. But the board has 2 sides, so I flipped it over and I did the process all over again. Painted it, used the white glue, let it dry for 45 minutes, but this time I went and got a chip brush and I watered down my paint just a little tiny bit because I thought my paint was just, see, that's the chip, the first one, and see, the crackles aren't very good. So I did it again. I watered down my paint just a little bit, and this time I have the chip brush like Gigi told us to. And now this is 1 hour and 15 minutes into the drying, and you can see my crackles are much bigger, just like Gigi's, like I wanted it to be. So I let that dry overnight, and I was much happier. So follow Gigi's instructions. So there it is, and now I'm ready to decoupage my, see, there's the little crackles, there's, when you follow Gigi's directions, what happens. So I cut out the piece, the pumpkins that I want to put on it, and I'm going to outline it with the water so I can tear it apart. Now this was on real nice paper, so it was a little harder to tear it, to decoupage it, but I did it using the little brush and the water to outline it. Oh, my voice is going. Wait a minute, I'm going to take a drink. Okay, so I have it all torn. Now I've placed it on my board exactly where I want it to be, so I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to Mod Podge half of it and lay it down, and I'm just holding it because I don't want it to move. I have it placed exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to lay it down. Then I'm going to Mod Podge the other half, and I'm going to lay it down. And then I have a little piece of cellophane that I'm going to use after I use my fingers to kind of spread it out real nice. And then I'm going to get all the bubbles out. And then I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to put it on a little stand. Then I'm going to Mod Podge over the top to make sure it all stays down real nice. And then I'm going to put it on a little stand, and then I'll show you mine compared to Gigi's original. I really wanted to try it. And there's her beautiful cat crackle with the sunflower napkin at home with Gigi. And then here is mine. DIY number 3. Now, what I didn't explain is that my Dollar Tree did not have any fall things, so I had to do things that I had in my stash. So for this one, they did have some of these leaf stickers, and I had this scrap paper in my stash, and I had some of these stick-on letters in my stash, and I had this frame. So I'm going to take the frame, and I'm going to take the scrap paper and put it on the frame back as a backing. So I'm cutting it out, and I'm going to take the frame apart and put the scrap paper on the back, and then I'm going to take those leaves, and they're 3D leaves that they have little pieces of foam in between them so that you can make them 3D. And the little letters are stick-on. So I've arranged them on my scrap paper of how I want them to be and make sure that they can fit into the frame. I'm going to clean off the glass and the frame, and I just arranged the leaves and the letters on my paper how I want them to be. They aren't attached yet. So I'm going to use the white glue to attach the leaves, and then the stick-on letters are self-attaching, and that's how they came out. So now I've put them on, and I've attached the backing, and it's a stand-up frame, and that's how it looks. So this is how the inspiration point is. I found it on holidappy.com on Pinterest, and that's the inspiration piece, and this is how mine came out. Okay, so those are my 3 recreations for today's challenge. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you haven't subscribed to Nona's Here yet, I hope you'll hit that little red subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell next to it so you'll be alerted every time I upload a new video. If you liked my video, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, like, comment, and share my video. I hope to see you again soon at Nona's Here. Bye!